Naoki stood outside the Kinoko bookstore with his friends, who were encouraging him to confess his feelings to a girl working there. Despite his friends' urging and the empty store, Naoki hesitated, waiting for the perfect moment. When reminded that he had been delaying for 3 hours, and his friends had other plans, Naoki realized it was time to act. Taking a deep breath, he gathered his courage and entered the store, thinking about the 6 months of preparation for this moment. Naoki entered the bookstore and received a warm greeting from Bio Choco, which cheered him up a lot. She offered to help him wrap the book, making him feel less nervous. Later, when he met up with his friends, Naoki shyly complimented her, calling her cute but doubted his chances, thinking she might already have a boyfriend. His friends encouraged him to overcome his hesitation and take the opportunity. Naoki's heart beat faster as he approached the girl. Her simple question about whether he needed anything else and her thanks for being a regular customer took Naoki by complete surprise. Her recognition of their previous encounters brought back a wave of memories for him. When she offered him a bag for his books, he eagerly accepted, feeling incredibly excited. With a touch of nervousness, Naoki hesitantly asked for her contact information, but she declined, explaining that she was busy with work. This rejection left Naoki feeling dejected as he returned to his friends. Naoki's friends noticed the change in his mood and tried to comfort him. They reminded him that one rejection wasn't a big deal and encouraged him to move on. Despite the encouragement, Naoki couldn't hide his sad expression, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. Suddenly, he looked down at the book he had bought to impress someone, a book he knew he would never read. Holding How to Be an Independent Woman, Naoki felt foolish and defeated. The book became a painful reminder of his heartache, of what had happened. At the Kinoko bookstore, Dojiri-san joked about the young boy who had asked for her contact information, teasing that she might have a special interest in him. However, the girl gently denied it, saying that the boy was probably still in high school. Even so, her friend sensed her hidden excitement and encouraged her to consider dating. The girl tried to downplay the matter, but eventually admitted that she had secretly written her line ID on a piece of paper and tucked it into the boy's book. This subtle move left her friend impressed. The girl's eyes widened in horror. Dojiri-san frantically searched for her book, panic rising as she wondered where it could have gone. Suddenly, she realized she might have accidentally given the wrong book to the boy. At the same time, Naoki and his friends were examining the book that Naoki believed held a hidden message for him. One friend was skeptical about the book's meaning, while another suggested it might just be a mistake. However, Naoki remained convinced the book was important. Their attention shifted when they saw the girl holding an identical book, seemingly looking for someone. Encouraged by his friend, Naoki decided to approach the girl who had accidentally given him the wrong book. The girl apologized and said she needed to get back to work, but Naoki asked her if the book belonged to her. He nervously asked her out on a date, promising he would back off if things didn't go well. The girl was surprised and amused by Naoki's sudden and bold invitation. She agreed, reminding him that he already had her line ID. At first, Naoki didn't realize it, but as the girl walked away, he discovered her ID written inside the book. A mix of shock and gratitude washed over Naoki as he thanked his friends for their help. That evening, he excitedly searched for the ID he had just discovered, only to find out it was the store manager's ID, not the girl's, as he had thought. Shocked by the mix-up, he decided to return to the bookstore the next day to sort things out. Meanwhile, the girl's friend worried that she might have given Naoki the wrong ID, and the girl felt regretful about the misunderstanding. Naoki eagerly awaited their date. Although he was very nervous, he was full of excitement as he waited for her to arrive. When the girl appeared, everyone around them admired her beauty, but Naoki was too nervous to appreciate it. As she joined him, she gently reminded him to enjoy their time together. Naoki secretly admired the girl's maturity, while she felt grateful to have found him. The crowd continued to admire her beauty, their curiosity piqued by the boy accompanying her. Naoki couldn't help but think that she was way out of his league. Just then, the girl turned to look at him, noticed he was sweating, and asked if he was nervous. Flustered, Naoki quickly apologized and tried to change the subject. Finding him cute, she took out a cloth and gently wiped the sweat from his face, leaving Naoki both surprised and touched. Naoki apologized again, but the girl just smiled lightly and reassured him that there was nothing to worry about. Nevertheless, he began to doubt his ability to meet her expectations. He felt the need to make a strong impression, but couldn't find the right words. Meanwhile, the girl noticed his handkerchief, and he became even more flustered, afraid she would think he was boring. He began to worry that their age and life differences might prevent them from truly connecting, making him consider leaving. However, the girl noticed his discomfort and gently reassured him, offering to lead the conversation for the day. Her unexpected kindness surprised Naoki, and he then suggested they go somewhere quieter to talk. They decided to go to the park, where she commented on how peaceful it was. Naoki agreed, feeling the serenity of the surroundings as they sat and watched the children play. In that quiet moment, he began to wonder if he was the one making things difficult for himself, questioning if he was getting himself into something crazy. Just then, the girl mentioned how hot it was, and Naoki quickly agreed, suggesting they should find something cool to drink. He was trying to maintain his gentlemanly image, but before he could act, the girl cut him off, revealing she had brought a bottle of Coke. She offered him some, but when Naoki looked at the bottle, he realized it wasn't Coca-Cola. It was soy sauce. Naoki half-jokingly said that drinking it would be suicide, which made the girl laugh and agree, seemingly delighted by his reaction. He thought she was trying to lighten the mood, when in reality, she felt embarrassed for bringing soy sauce instead of something more appropriate. Undeterred, however, she suggested they go see a romance movie. Naoki agreed, explaining that he watched films like that sometimes. The girl was surprised, commenting that it was unusual for a guy to admit that. Naoki quickly clarified that he didn't watch them often, but he did enjoy them from time to time. The girl called Naoki mature, which made him blush. Naoki realized he might have been showing off a little, but he was determined to win her over, believing the effort would be worth it. As they set off, a sense of excitement filled the air upon their arrival. The girl looked at the door curiously, and Naoki explained that it wasn't an automatic door. She paused for a moment, then said she needed to wash her hands and asked him to wait. Naoki gently told her that this facility was for men, making her immediately realize her mistake. Naoki noticed her little mistakes and found them adorable, but a sudden wave of guilt washed over him for thinking of her that way. A moment later, the girl returned and suggested that if he felt nervous, he could text her. Naoki, who was sitting up ahead, called out to her when he saw her walking with someone else, surprised and wondering if she was still nervous. The girl realized the misunderstanding and hurried over to him, flashing a warm smile. She took out a bag of snacks she'd bought and offered to share them with him. Naoki was deeply touched and appreciated her sincere kindness. After the movie ended, the girl shared her feelings about the date, saying it was wonderful, and Naoki immediately agreed. To herself, she realized this was their first date, and she suddenly noticed she hadn't paid much attention to the movie. She asked Naoki what they should do next, which made him feel nervous. They eventually decided to go to a cozy cafe. Noticing Naoki's tension, she asked him why he seemed so uncomfortable. Naoki sheepishly confessed that this was his first time in a fancy cafe like this, which made him feel even more stressed. As she was pouring coffee from the pot, the cup started to overflow. Naoki scrambled to manage his own awkwardness, but he noticed that her actions seemed a bit clumsy. Naoki pointed out that the coffee was spilling and worriedly asked if she'd burned her hand. The girl smiled and reassured him that she was perfectly fine. Naoki began to wonder if she was trying to ease his tension because of his nervousness. He thought back on all the clumsy moments throughout their date, especially when he had accidentally called her Onee-san, which made him feel even more embarrassed. Realizing he needed to pull himself together, Naoki told himself to act like a gentleman. When they got to the counter to pay, the bill was 1,350 yen. Naoki was a little taken aback by the amount, then quickly pulled out his wallet. The girl stopped him and handed Naoki her card, saying that it was her treat today. However, in a moment of confusion, she accidentally handed him a dentist's business card instead of her credit card. Naoki was bewildered by the mix-up and wondered how he was supposed to handle the situation politely. As they walked together toward the cafe's exit, Naoki thought back on their date. The two of them hadn't said another word since leaving the counter. The girl thanked him for today, saying she really enjoyed it. Naoki replied that he had a great time too. She turned to leave, heading on her way. Naoki saw this as his golden opportunity. Naoki wanted to call her by her name, but he hesitated. Unsure if he should, finally he mustered up his courage and called out, "Naho-san!" apologizing for being so sudden and admitting he was being too bold. He also felt that he hadn't done much to impress her. Naoki was trembling, nervous about what he was going to say next. Naoki asked if he could call her by her name. Naho-san. This caught her by surprise, but she felt happy hearing him say it. However, she lost her balance and fell down the stairs. Naoki rushed to her side, anxiously asking if she was okay. Naho-san gently told him that it was surprising for him to call her by her name so suddenly. She playfully called him a naughty boy for it. Then she reassured him that it was okay if it was him and thanked him. Naoki responded with a thank you as well. He checked to see if she was hurt anywhere. She denied being in any pain and assured him she was fine. Due to these unexpected events, their next date had to be postponed. The next day in class, the teacher was explaining a theory. Naho-san was listening intently, looking very focused. When the lecture ended, she started bouncing in her seat, smiling happily. Noticing her joy, her friend finally asked Naho-san why she was so happy. Naho-san hesitated for a moment, wondering if her friend was genuinely interested in the reason for her happiness. Her friend gently pointed out that she had forgotten to button her shirt. Naho-san laughed, admitting she should have been told sooner, but her friend just smiled and said she didn't want to ruin her good mood. Curious, her friend asked if something wonderful had happened. Naho-san hesitated for a moment, then revealed that she'd found someone she likes. Her friend Iku-chan was surprised and immediately asked if his name was Naoki and if he was only interested in her for her looks. Naho-san shook her head, laughed happily, and hugged her friend so tight that Iku-chan protested in pain. Afterward, Naho-san admitted that the person she liked was actually a high school student, Naoki. Iku-chan advised her not to get too serious about the relationship, expressing concern about her dating someone so young. Naho-san realized that Iku-chan didn't fully understand her situation. She admitted that while from a high schooler's perspective, Naho might seem like a mature and capable woman, Iku-chan was scolding her for being so clumsy. Iku-chan implied that she should find a reliable man, since she was clearly not cut out to handle things on her own. Naho felt a little anxious and admitted she was afraid of failing to live up to the expectation of being a strong, capable woman. Iku-chan tried to comfort her, saying the boy had probably already noticed her clumsiness, so there was no need to worry. Then Iku-chan added that no man could possibly miss her clumsiness, and if he didn't notice, he must be incredibly unobservant. Naho protested that he wasn't like that, then took out her phone to show Iku-chan a message she'd just received, insisting this proved she was capable. As Naho showed her the message, she wondered if she was just being teased or simply putting up a fake front. She also wondered about her friend's preference for high school boys and mentioned her own younger brother, who was currently a sophomore. She described him as a naughty kid and recalled a time she accidentally caught her brother doing something sneakily. Feeling that something was off, Iku revealed that she had found a large collection of pornographic books. She was referring to picture books, which confused her at first. However, she soon realized that children are quite simple and straightforward. Naho listened to this story with delight, finding it incredibly cute. She expressed to Iku-chan that she likes that type of boy, clapping her hands excitedly. Iku-chan suggested that she probably wouldn't be able to pull off that impressive move and advised her to give up. Iku then recalled their beach trip, joking about Naho's swimsuit, cheerfully suggesting that she should just send him that photo. Naho got annoyed and told her not to bring that story up again. Just then, her phone buzzed. and she became visibly cheerful when she saw the message from him, thanking her for the other day. Afterward, Iku-chan went home and found her younger brother still sprawled out on the floor. She scolded him, warning that if he didn't get up, she might step on him, then asked if he was lovesick. He denied any wrongdoing, but she pressed on, asking if a girl had broken his heart. Noting his despairing look, she continued, asking what would happen if Naho didn't reply to him. While enjoying some ice cream, he angrily told her to be quiet and reminded her that the ice cream was his. Meanwhile, Naho was alone, lost in a book, feeling conflicted about whether to reply or not. She wondered if Naoki-kun was waiting for her message, recalling Iku-chan's suggestion to send a beach photo. Finally, she decided she had no other choice but to do it. And when Naoki-kun's phone vibrated, he suddenly burst out laughing. Iku-chan appeared, asking about the caller and dismissing his excitement as childish. She asked, "What's so great about younger people anyway?" Naoki-kun checked the message and saw it was from Naho with a photo attached. As the image was loading, he waited eagerly. When he finally saw the picture of Naho at the beach, he was a little surprised. Meanwhile, after sending the photo, Naho was embarrassed, kicking her feet repeatedly as she texted. Naoki asked if she liked parks or zoos. She replied that she wasn't into theme parks anymore. He then mentioned a new crepe shop that opened near the station and asked if she liked crepes. She explained that her taste had changed, and now she preferred bitter flavors like black coffee instead of sweet things. Afterward, Naoki confided in his friends, expressing his frustration that she always seemed to shoot down his attempts to impress her. He guessed that maybe she was rejecting him indirectly. His friend told him to calm down. Naoki compared the situation to a girl losing interest after the first date and admitted that his anxiety was holding him back. Naoki sighed, admitting that he couldn't have a meaningful conversation with her. His friend Kashima comforted him, saying he had an experienced friend who could help. Another friend asked if she showed no interest in the topics he brought up, and Naoki confirmed that was the case, admitting it was now hard to get her engaged in conversation. The friend put a hand on Naoki's shoulder, suggesting he was probably being friend-zoned and advised him to give up. Naoki frantically argued back that she always sent heart emojis in their chats. The friend was skeptical, asking if those emojis were really a sign of genuine affection. Another friend chimed in, suggesting she might actually be a devil. Naoki was taken aback by this remark. His friend explained that, although it might be hard to accept, there are girls who enjoy toying with inexperienced guys, only to eventually capture their affection and money and then lose interest. Naoki listened, feeling increasingly anxious and insecure. His friend then recalled a character in an eroge they had played who was just as hard to conquer. Another friend cut in, reminding them that this situation wasn't just a game. Meanwhile, Naho was daydreaming, looking longingly at the tempting food in front of a shop. Iku-chan was enjoying a snack, noticed Naho, and suggested that if Naho was craving it that much, she should just try some. Naho immediately refused, saying she doesn't eat childish things like that, and went back to her phone. Iku-chan, observing her carefully, asked for a moment of her time. Naho quickly apologized and smiled. Iku-chan confessed that she was just joking with her. Naho put her phone down and apologized, but Iku-chan said she was just teasing her. She then revealed that he hadn't contacted her in a while. Iku-chan speculated that the delay might be because she had said something strange to him. Naho reassured her friend that she hadn't said anything unusual, then showed Iku-chan a book. She explained that she had been relying on the guide in the book to reply to every single message. Iku-chan asked if the guy was going to invite Naho out, and she was a bit surprised for a moment. Iku-chan continued, revealing that the reason he brought up those topics was to suggest taking her to a crepe shop and the zoo. Realizing this, she figured Naho's answers might have made him think she wasn't interested in going out. Iku-chan called Naho's actions foolish, frustrated with her approach. Meanwhile, Naoki arrived at the Kinoko bookstore, where Naho was working, and began waiting for her before her shift started. He wondered if he was bothering her, and started to doubt whether he was really the right person for her. He thought about his own expectations and realized he should probably try to understand the situation better. Just then, Naho appeared, and Naoki called her name. She glanced at him for a second, then turned away. Feeling regretful, Naoki apologized and explained that he'd been really looking forward to seeing her, and in his eagerness, he decided to stop by. She avoided looking him directly in the eye, and he asked if he was being a bother. After thinking for a moment, she confessed that she didn't know how to react to such unexpected visits. Naoki then asked if he really wasn't good enough for her, admitting he didn't fully understand the complexities of dating. He pleaded with her to give him another chance. Her face lit up with a smile when she heard his words, but she couldn't turn around because she was holding a crepe. Naoki, feeling a little disappointed, got ready to leave, but she suddenly called his name and told him to wait. With her mouth full, she asked if he liked to eat crepes sometimes, and then expressed interest in going to an amusement park or the zoo. She suggested that they should go together next time if he was free. Naoki's face lit up with happiness at her suggestion, and they promised to make time for each other soon. The next day, Naho was at the mall, eager for advice on how to become a more capable woman. After a successful shopping trip, she believed that just a few accessories would complete her mature look. She headed for the accessories section, imagining Naoki's surprise when he saw her transformation. At the same time, Naoki was at the mall with his sister, Iku-chan. They were shopping for clothes for an upcoming date, and Iku-chan showed Naoki a shirt. Naoki suggested a more mature style would be better, though his sister thought the shirt was already perfect. Naoki was determined to find something that fit the grown-up image he was going for. Meanwhile, as Naho continued to look for accessories, she suddenly saw Naoki with a girl and immediately panicked, wondering if they were on a date. Unaware that Naoki was actually with his sister, Naho misunderstood the situation. Naoki told his sister he needed more mature-looking outfits. Meanwhile, Naho, still reeling, messaged Iku-chan, expressing her shock at seeing Naoki with another girl. Naho had mistaken it for a date. The discovery left Iku-chan a bit shocked as she read Naho's text. At that moment, Naoki held up 2 shirts and asked his sister, Iku-chan, for her opinion on which one looked better. His sister, busy replying to Naho, told him that both shirts were fine, but added that her friend was in a tough situation. Iku-chan suggested that she follow the woman, advising her to put on a disguise to avoid being seen and to investigate what the girl looked like. Naho agreed to Iku-chan's advice. She put on a pair of sunglasses to alter her appearance. Iku-chan warned that if the girl looked too flashy, she might be involved with a playboy. Naho remarked that although she couldn't see the girl's face clearly, her outfit seemed quite flashy. Iku-chan replied that it was very likely the guy was a playboy. Naho hesitated, not wanting to believe it, as she continued to observe the nearby mannequins. Distracted, she accidentally knocked them over, causing them to fall on top of her. Someone asked if she was all right. At that moment, Naoki and his sister were nearby. Naoki rushed over to help, but his sister stopped him, telling him not to bother with some strange woman. Naho found the closeness between Naoki and his sister strange. She texted Iku-chan, telling her how overly familiar Naoki and the girl were being. Iku-chan replied that their closeness confirmed her suspicions. Naho asked if Iku-chan really thought so, admitting she'd always felt there was something a little shady about Naoki. Reading Iku-chan's message, Naho's hopes were shattered, and tears began to stream down her face. A man standing nearby noticed her sadness and commented that her pretty face shouldn't look so upset, offering to buy her a cup of tea. However, Naho completely ignored his offer. At the same time, she received a message from Naoki asking for her preference in men's clothing. Naoki told Iku-chan that he felt asking Naho directly about her taste might be awkward, but his sister insisted it was better than suddenly changing his look only to get rejected. Iku-chan handed him a shirt and suggested he try it on. She commented that since Naho was a high school student, she wouldn't care what he wore anyway. Naoki corrected her, saying that she was a university student. His sister, surprised, asked where he bought his clothes, since she found them rather unattractive. Naoki explained that she was the one who had picked them out for him. Meanwhile, Naho, surprised by Naoki's message, wondered why he was asking her about clothes, and thought he might be flirting with her. She found it hard to believe he was that kind of guy. Naho realized she had to see the relationship between Naoki and the girl with her own eyes. She frantically searched for her sunglasses, worried about the consequences if she were caught spying on Naoki. Meanwhile, Naoki's sister recognized Naho as the strange girl she had met earlier. As Naho was about to continue her surveillance, she suddenly saw Naoki's sister approaching. Afraid of being discovered, Naho accidentally tripped and stumbled into a fitting room, where Naoki was trying on a new shirt. Both of them were shocked by the collision, and the misunderstanding was finally cleared up. Naho was still listening to advice on how to be a capable woman, and continued to follow the steps diligently, realizing her past mistakes. As she was lost in thought, feeling the need to fix things, Naoki's urgent and disappointed voice called out from behind. Turning around, she reminded him with a hint of annoyance that there were only 10 minutes left, so he should be patient. Her headphones had become disconnected, and Naoki, noticing this, also heard the audio coming from them. Flustered, Naho turned back around and saw Naoki approaching her, his face full of anticipation and a slight blush. Naoki offered her a beautiful bouquet of fresh, newly cut flowers and asked her to accept them with a hopeful smile. Naho was shocked by this unexpected and generous gesture, wondering if this show of affection was too sudden. Naho hesitated, her heart pounding as she considered how to respond. Naoki, also blushing, sincerely thanked her for coming and asked if this grand gesture was too much for a normal date. He felt unsure about the social conventions in a situation like this, while also wondering if his own sister was having a better time. Naho, who had initially mistaken his gesture for a marriage proposal, quickly realized that a truly capable woman would remain composed. She suggested they head out immediately. Naoki, passing through the censor gate with ease, noted that the train was arriving soon, and their timing was perfect. Meanwhile, Naho was struggling to process her emotions, her mind a whirlwind of confusing thoughts about the situation. Her face flushed with embarrassment as she accidentally used the wrong card, causing a short but frustrating delay. Finally, they made it onto the train, standing unsteadily while Naho remained motionless. She reflected on her behavior, realizing she wasn't projecting the image of a capable woman. She worried that if this continued, Naoki might lose interest in her. Meanwhile, Naoki was also rethinking his decision to give her the bouquet, feeling deep regret for the act. Naoki felt he had to do something, so he apologized for the bouquet and suggested she hold onto the handrails while he held it for her. Naho refused his offer with a warm smile. Naoki, feeling a little hurt, interpreted her refusal as a way of brushing him off. Meanwhile, Naho thought that a truly capable woman shouldn't rely on others so easily. Naoki persisted in trying to take the bouquet from her, explaining that the train was shaking. But Naho insisted that she was fine. He warned her to be careful of the train's lurching, but just as he said it, the train jolted violently, as if to prove his point. Naho lost her balance and accidentally fell against another man. Embarrassed, she quickly apologized to him. Meanwhile, Naho blamed herself for carrying the bouquet, feeling how inconvenient it was. Naoki, on the other hand, thought Naho's reaction confirmed his worries. Despite her mistake, Naho was determined to handle the situation without relying on him for support. Naoki was still trying to figure out how to take the bouquet from her without making things more awkward. Finally, they arrived at their destination, the Chiya Hoya Hanamaru Zoo. Naoki commented that it had been a long time since he'd last been there. Naho excitedly offered to show Naoki how an adult enjoys a trip to the zoo. As they were talking, Naoki noticed a goat nibbling on their bouquet. He felt relieved, thinking that perhaps this was a lucky turn of events. As they continued to walk and observe the animals, Naoki suddenly spotted a monkey and was impressed by its amazing climbing skills. He commented on how cool it was, and Naho nodded in agreement. While walking around, they noticed the monkeys had a rather intimidating presence. Naho expressed concern that the fence might fall over and the monkeys could attack them. Naoki tried to reassure her, pointing out that the monkeys were actually quite cute, Remembering what she had said earlier about teaching him how to enjoy the zoo, Naho reflected on her own fear, mentioning that even the goat that had nibbled on the flowers had scared her. She worried that if Naoki found out about this fear, it might ruin her image as a capable adult. Noticing her discomfort, Naoki suggested they go closer to the orangutan. Naho replied that adults should keep their distance from the animals, acknowledging that this was a sensible approach. However, Naoki noticed that everyone around them, including the people standing behind her, were getting closer to the animals. He led her closer to the orangutan. Naho was struck by the orangutan's serene presence, which was almost divine. Naoki commented on its godlike aura, and she agreed, noting the kindness in its eyes. He pointed out that there were calm monkeys like that too, and asked if she wanted to keep looking around. Naho admitted that while she still felt a little uneasy, it was a different, more pleasant kind of fear. Model. Naoki then spotted a tiger and asked her what she thought. She agreed that it was impressive, but Naoki noticed she was looking down and wondered if she was bored. He figured she might find the next animal more interesting and eagerly awaited her reaction. He moved closer, suggesting they get a picture taken near the lion enclosure. Naho was taken aback and expressed her concern, pointing out that even though it was just a cub, it was still a lion, and she was worried about its sharp fangs and claws. She suggested that such experiences were more for children, advising Naoki to be careful and implying that adults should probably stay away. Naoki tried to reassure her, saying there was no line at the moment, but Naho warned that he might get worn out if a crowd gathered. He agreed, feeling like he might be bothering her. Naho noticed Naoki's troubled expression and remarked that for an adult, his reaction was almost comical. When the lion cub was finally brought out, Naho gently suggested they move on. Her initial apprehension melted away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of how cute it was. They began the countdown to take their picture with the lion cub. But just as the photo was about to be snapped, the cub suddenly peed. The unexpected moment made the photo an unforgettable memory. Suddenly, Naho spotted another lion and panicked, telling Naoki it was escaping and yelling for him to run. Naoki calmly explained that it was just a decoration, not a real one.